Hope everyone's having a pleasant Friday afternoon. We're driving our 2011 LML Duramax dually down in Indianapolis area today, and this thing's been getting work done on it for quite a long time. We had to have the entire DEF system rebuilt, new tank, new pump, new heater, new quality sensor, new all that stuff. We had the EGR system completely rebuilt because that took a crap right afterward. We had the CP4 taken out, replaced with a CP3. We had the fleece kit that we got done, and that was an adventure. We had to replace one of the injectors. There was only one that had, the balance was way out of line compared to the rest of them. We had new return lines put in. We had this morning a new EGT sensor, one of the 4 EGT sensors, because it was given really, really bad readings. And so this truck has been a hangar queen and been getting huge amounts of work done on it. And so this is our first time driving it in quite a while, and I'll tell you, there's something about it that stands out, which is the exhaust brake in this truck that's almost 15 years old, got just about 400,000 miles on it. It is many, many, many times better and more useful than the exhaust brake on our brand new, just about 2023 Super Duty. And you really notice it in heavy traffic like we're going through here, because it's rush hour on a Friday afternoon. Indianapolis gets real busy, real busy, and it's stop and go at times, and other times it's just between 50 and 10 miles an hour, and you're speeding up and slowing down over and over. And if you can hear it, it's constantly downshifting. Basically, anytime you get off the throttle and you're in tow haul mode with the exhaust brake activated, and right now we're going 40, 45, need to slow down, all you need to do is lift, and you can just feel those veins in the turbo clamping down, and generating huge amounts of back pressure, which cause the engine to slow the truck down. And it's just enormously helpful. And when you spend a little bit of time driving this thing again, which it's been a long time since I took this thing somewhere, and you wind up in something like what we're going through this afternoon. Again, look at all that traffic, bumper to bumper traffic on the other side, and it's that way going the direction we're going as well. A decent amount of it. This is the first halfway clear traffic we've experienced in about the last hour or so, but it's great because instead of having to melt the brakes and get on those brakes hard, and this is an 8,000 pound plus truck, and those brakes are working very, very hard when you're in stop and go traffic, if you're using them exclusively. No, the exhaust brake is doing its thing, and it's like it can read your mind almost. And all you got to do, again, is just lift off the throttle. And before you know it, check out the tach. It's downshifting and generating a huge amount of back pressure to slow you down, to the extent that you hardly ever have to use the brakes. And it's great because it means they can last that much longer and go that much farther in between having to get new pads, new rotors, that kind of thing. Sorry about the glare in the dashboard. It's just, the sun's at just the right angle to do that. But again, if you can see it, it's just non-stop traffic. That's the other side, obviously, and that's what we were going through for the better part of the last hour. We had to go from the southwest, like Clayton, Indiana. That's where they distribute Pelican cases, if you know what those are. Picked up 2 pallets of them down there for a project we're trying to finish up, and had to go through downtown Indianapolis on whatever that was, I-70, all the way through to the other side, jump on 465, and then Now we're on I-69 headed up north back toward Michigan. And it's not the worst traffic we've been through, but it's still pretty bad. And this truck, this 14-year-old Duramax, which has been such a pain in the I'll just say it's been such a pain in the ass with all the constant maintenance it takes. And we weren't even like an hour down the road, maybe 2 hours down the road from our mechanic when the check engine light came back on again. And it wasn't even on yesterday, and it came back on this morning before we left the mechanic. And it was, oh, by the way, a brand new EGT sensor, which wasn't that much. It was like a $75 part. But again, this thing is at the age where it is constantly needing work done. And the problem you have with these, not these pre-emission diesels, these diesels with emissions on them, with an EGR system, and they've had EGR, the Duramax has had EGR since almost the beginning. If I'm not mistaken, the LB7 had EGR. The LLY definitely did, and the LBZ definitely did, and I think so did the first Duramax, the LB7, way back in 2001. It had a DPF starting in 07.5 with the LMM, and but didn't have a dosing injector. It just used one of the injectors into the cylinder to provide the extra fuel to do regens. But then in 2011 with the LML, this was the first year it had like the triangle of death, the EGR and the DPF, the soot filter, and the DEF system, otherwise known as the SCR system. And so with all three emission control systems, if you're using your truck for business as we do, you don't really have the time to mess around with getting it deleted and then having to deal with the DOT or the EPA or whatever. And so it's not really an option to delete the truck, and so you just have to leave that stuff on there. But it is astounding how much maintenance they take. We've owned this truck 4.5 years, and for almost the entire damn time we've owned this truck, that check engine light has been on. And so you might say, why not get rid of it? Well, it's paid for itself a couple times over now. We didn't pay that much for it. We paid less than $20,000. And it is, it's a real dually. It can tow something like 23,000 pounds. And all we need to tow is about 16 to 18,000 pounds. So it's entirely suited or competent for what we do with it. And even with all the maintenance it's taken, again, it's paid for itself several times over now. So there's no reason to get rid of it. And yes, we do have 4 pickup trucks, but we use the hell out of them. We're using them all the damn time. Our Cummins is out in California for the time being. Our diesel F-150 is out in Pennsylvania. Our Super Duty's in Michigan, and that might start going back and forth to PA in the very near future. And this thing's probably going to be in Michigan for the time being as well. But again, it's just kind of annoying. It's kind of sad that a 14-year-old Duramax, which is, you might call it primitive by today's standards. It doesn't have a 12-inch touchscreen. It doesn't have digital gauges. It doesn't have lane keeping, lane centering. It doesn't have automatic emergency braking. It doesn't have, power running boards. None of that stuff. Which, by the way, you'd be surprised to find out you can live without that stuff. All it is a 3,500 one-ton dually that can pull about 23,000 pounds down the highway, and that's all we need most of the time. We don't need heated and ventilated seats and a 12-inch touchscreen. It's the kind of thing you can live without for a little while if you have to. So again, for now, we've got a need for lots of vehicles, and this thing is going to stay in the fleet, even with all the damn maintenance that it takes. And again, we remain astounded at how well the exhaust brake works in this thing versus how badly it does in our top-of-the-line 2023 Super Duty with that 6.7 PowerStroke. And it's like I said the other day, it's almost as if the engineer who was doing the calibration on that 6.7 PowerStroke it's like they were working for the enemy. It's like they phoned it in. I mean, that exhaust brake, just like Paul from PD Diesel said, that exhaust brake will keep you alive, but it may or may not actually keep you safe. The exhaust brake in a Cummins will absolutely keep you safe and comfortable going down the Rocky Mountains with a fully loaded trailer, as will the exhaust brake in this thing. Or it'll get you through bumper-to-bumper traffic on a busy Friday afternoon if that's all you need to do, without having to use the brakes over and over and over and cook those damn brakes, and then have to pay for new pads and rotors on top of everything else you're doing, maintenance-wise. Anyway, I hope you all have a great day, and if you're thinking about getting one of these LMLs, I'm not going to say don't do it. I'm just going to say make sure you got a scan tool, make sure you're very mechanically inclined, or make sure your next door neighbor's a mechanic, or you live or work very close to a good diesel mechanic, because an LML Duramax will spend a lot of time in the shop. It's at the age now where it is so old that stuff is just going to start breaking, even if you don't have 400,000 miles on it like we do. Stuff just breaks after a certain amount of time, and it takes an enormous amount of maintenance, because it's not simple like our, I don't know, like our 03 Cummins, for instance, which takes virtually zero maintenance. It takes a lot of maintenance, and oh, by the way, it's enormously time consuming to work on, because of how much stuff is packed into the engine compartment. You know, just to do the number 3 fuel injector, which we had done on this thing a couple weeks ago, it wasn't like an easy job at all. The fuel, I forget what it was. Some part of the entire fuel system had to come off just to get to the number 3 injector. The wheel well had to come out. It's like you're doing heart surgery just to even get to the thing you need to fix, let alone fix it. So don't think this thing's, if you get one of these things, an LML, or even an older L5P, because those things are starting to get along in age. Those things are, the oldest L5Ps are from 2017, and so, you know, you're looking at an 8-year-old truck, and if it's been in the Midwest or the Northeast, that thing's been in the snow and slush and salt, and all kinds of parts are going to start breaking on it, with or without, whether or not it's got high mileage. So just be ready for that. It's not like an old 7.3 PowerStroke. It's not like an old 5.9 Cummins. It's an enormously complex engine and transmission. All right, everyone. Well, thanks. Hope you have a great afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.